For 3 years, I was the best S. The whole world knew I was in love with her. It wasn't until I overheard her bragging to her friends that I wouldn't leave, no matter how brutally she treated me, that something broke. In that very instant, a weird succession of pop-up comments glitched across my eyes. The writing ruined everything. It warned that her false pals were going to shut her down and call her out for only talking. It had dropped a bomb. The girl with spectacles who looks nerdy and silent. The one whose family is so rich it's crazy was the one who was secretly madly in love with me. I texted her on a whim. "Hey, you there?" A moment later, a voice from behind me, shaking with hardly repressed enthusiasm, said, "I'm here." What the heck was going on? Was my entire existence going to be thrown upside down by a series of pop-up spoilers? My name is Leo Foster, but everyone just calls me Sophia's S. I'd been chasing Sophia Quinn for 3 years. Sophia was our university's campus queen. She was from a wealthy family and drop-deaded stunning. I was simply a guy from a typical middle-ass background. I still don't know where I found the confidence to pursue her for 3 long years. I brought her food, saved her seats and lectures, assisted with her homework. I was at her back and phoned 24/7. The entire world knew I was crazy with her. I think she knew it too, but she never gave me a straight answer, just kept me hanging on. That day, I went looking for her to ask whether she was free for the weekend. She was in a student lounge with her circle of buddies, and the door was slightly ajar. I heard them laughing and joking inside. Just as I was about to knock, I heard my name. It was Sophia's voice, tinged with that casual, even bored arrogance she was known for. "Leo? Oh, he's been singing for me for 3 years. He's utterly whipped. I guarantee if I stepped out there and slapped him right now, he wouldn't even try to go." "You want to see?" I froze, fixed to the spot. A sharp cold swept through my limbs, and my heart gripped terribly. My eyes started to burn. God, I was such an idiot. And that's when it happened. My eyesight clouded, and a few lines of writing flickered into existence, floating in the air like comments in a video broadcast. She's all talk. If she laid a single finger on the main character, her so-called pals would rip her apart. Come on, guy, get a clue. Look at her buddies. Literally any one of them is better than her. Seriously. Especially the calm rich girl with the spectacles. Dude, you uttered one thing to her last month, and she was so delighted she couldn't sleep for 3 nights. I blinked hard. The text vanished. Was I hallucinating? Did she really piss me off so much I was having a mental break? But that final sentence echoed my mind. The rich girl with the spectacles. In Sophia's group, there was one girl who was always quiet, always sporting a pair of black-framed glasses. Her name was Chloe Chun. Imagine her name was as quiet as she was. She was constantly in a corner holding a book or a tablet. I'd scarcely even spoken to her. Last month, I faintly remembered Sophia making me move a bunch of boxes for her. There were too many, so I tossed one to Chloe, who was standing close, and said, "Hey, can you grab this?" She just nodded. She was so delighted she couldn't sleep for 3 nights. No way. That's insane. But Sophia's words were like an icicle stabbed into my heart. And, as crazy as the pop-up comments were, they felt like a lifeline. As if possessed, I pulled out my phone and found Chloe Chun in my contacts. Our conversation history was absolutely blank. Gritting my teeth, I typed out a single word, "Hey." The second I hit send, I held my breath. Almost instantly, from the direction of the lounge behind me, I heard the faint, muted buzz of a phone notification. It was quickly followed by a soft, soothing voice I barely knew, trying its best to appear calm. "I'm here." My whole body went rigid. I snapped my head around. The lounge door was still cracked open. Sophia and her pals were still laughing inside, but on a bench down the hall, Chloe was sitting there. I don't know when she'd arrived. Her head was down and she was clutching her phone. As I looked over, she occurred to look up. Her eyes, magnified somewhat by the glasses, met mine with a spark of apprehension. Her cheeks turned a deep hue of scarlet, and she quickly looked down again, her fingers twisting uncomfortably in her lap. Holy, it was real. Those pop-up comments were real. My head was whirling, a chaotic chaos. Sophia's derision, the weird words on my screen, Chloe's reaction. It was too much information at once. My head was about to fry. "Leo, what are you doing just standing there?" Sophia's voice, laced with irritation, drifted out. She must have seen me through the break in the door. I glanced back at Chloe. She had already collected herself, attempting to look normal, although the tips of her ears were hot red. She picked up a book from the bench near her and pretended to read it. It was upside down. Suddenly, I had zero interest in conversing to Sophia. In strange emotion, a mix of vengeful delight and intense interest welled up inside me. I ignored Sophia and marched straight over to Chloe. Her body tightened and she lowered her head even further. "Chloe," I said. She responded with a barely audible "hun," not looking up. "Are you free tonight? I need a favor," I said, making something up on the spot. I suppose I left a highly crucial textbook at the library. I can't discover it by myself. Could you help me look for it? Her head shot up, her eyes wide with what seemed like shock. And her opened, and she stammered, "Oh, sure. What time?" 7 a week. "Meet me at the library entrance," I said. "Okay," she agreed instantaneously. Then, as if attempting to sound more casual, she hastily added, "I had to return several books anyway." "Thanks," I stated, with a nod, then turned and went away. I could feel her stare following me. I could also feel Sophia's incredulous glare from the lounge doorway. Once I walked outside the building, the cool air helped clear my head a little. What did I just do? I asked out Chloe, all because of a few strange lines of text and her reply. But then I thought about Sophia's smug look, and I didn't feel so horrible about it. That evening, I was purposefully 10 minutes late. When I came to the library, Chloe was already waiting. She had changed her clothes and was wearing a modest dress with a knit cardigan. She still had on the same black frame glasses, standing there calmly like a wallflower. When she spotted me, she straightened up, nervously putting her glasses up her nose. "Sorry I'm late," I said. "It's okay." "Hey, I just got here too," she said. The tip of her nose was pink from the cold. Inside, I had no book to find, so I just went between the stacks, pretending to look. Chloe followed half a step behind me, quiet, not asking any questions. "What kind of novels do you normally read?" I inquired, just to fill the silence. "A little of everything," she murmured in a faint voice. "Textbooks, some fiction." "Oh." I paused, remembered the pop-up comment, and decided to test her. "By the way, thanks again for last month for helping me with that box." She trembled slightly, and her cheeks got red again. "You're welcome." "It was nothing," she whispered. Seeing her reaction, I was pretty much convinced. The pop-ups weren't lying. But why? What was in it for her? I stared at her. An average girl you wouldn't notice in a crowd. The text indicated she was from a rich family. Was that real, Leo? She called my name unexpectedly, her voice unsure. "Yeah. What's the book you're looking for? Maybe I can check the library system for you." She pulled out her phone, looking at me attentively. My pop-up spoilers told me I was now a desirable commodity for a couple OVs. She was concentrated on her phone, her profile serious and attentive. I observed her, my head a confused mess. This was all too strange. After a bit, she glanced up a little remorseful. "I can't find a book with that title." "Are you sure you remember the name right?" "Maybe not." I responded vaguely. "Forget it. Let's not look anymore. Sorry to trouble you. Let me buy you a boba tea to say thanks." Her eyes flared up for a second before she shook her head. "No, it's okay." It was no issue. "Come on," I encouraged. I wanted to get more information out of her. We proceeded to the boba shop on campus. I got her the most costly drink on the menu. She clutched in her hands, sipping little sips like a hamster. "So, you and Sophia, are you guys close?" I steered the conversation. She halted mid-sip and shook her head. "We're just in the same circle. We hang out sometimes." "I see." I gazed at her. "So, this afternoon outside the lounge, did you hear what Sophia said?" Chloe coughed on her tea, coughing as her face flushed pink. I handed her a napkin. She dabbed at her mouth, her eyes sliding away, refusing to meet mine. That reaction said it all. She heard everything. She was just joking," Chloe murmured gently, her voice missing conviction. Was she? I smiled, not pushing it further. It seemed she didn't want to badmouth Sophia. We sat in silence for a bit. I couldn't bear it anymore. I looked her squarely in the eye and asked directly, "Chloe, are you into me?" I couldn't say it. It seemed way too pompous. If I was incorrect, I'd die of embarrassment. She glanced at me, bewildered, waiting for me to continue. Her expression a mix of clarity and nerves. "Are you sure you don't know where that book is?" I chickened out and changed the question. A glimmer of disappointment passed her eyes. It was brief, but I got it. My heart skipped a beat. "No, I don't," she answered, shaking her head. "Maybe someone already checked it out." It was getting late, so we got up to leave. I walked her back to her room. Neither of us spoke much. Just as we reached the entrance, she paused and looked at me. "Leo, absolutely, you're a pretty good person." After saying that, her face went red again, and she quickly turned and ran into the dorm building. I stayed there wondering over her remarks. A really good person. Was she friend-zoning me? No. That didn't fit with the pop-ups and her reactions. Over the next few days, I ceased orbiting Sophia. She must have recognized something was amiss since she sent me a message, an unusual occasion, requesting what I've been busy with. A week earlier, I would have been ecstatic. But today, I glanced at the message with total indifference, almost wanting to laugh. I replied, "Nothing much, just some stuff to do." She didn't write back. I decided to test the waters again with Chloe, sending her a message on a subject from one of our lectures. She replied nearly promptly with a long, detailed explanation, complete with multiple unambiguous images of her notes. "Thanks. You're a lifesaver," I responded. "You're welcome," she sent back. A few minutes later, another message came in. "That issue is actually extremely tough. I have a summary overview I wrote if you want it." "Yes, thank you so much," I said. The peculiar feeling was growing stronger. Chloe was certainly interested in me, and there seemed to be more to her than greeted the eye. Those notes were more detailed and professional than the professor's teaching slides. On Friday afternoon, there was a department seminar that a lot of students attended. When I came, Sophia and her companion were already sitting near the front. Chloe was with them in a seat at the end of the row. I carefully took a seat a few rows behind them. The talk was uninteresting, and I was ready to doze off when my eyesight glitched again. The odd pop-up comments were back. "Whoa, major scenario incoming. The drama queen is ready to self-destruct. Hang in there, my man. You're cute affluent. Girl is about to be thrust into the spotlight. Let them fight. Let them fight." Grabs popcorn. I was quickly wide awake, my heart thumping. It was happening again. What was it this time? I glanced intently at Sophia's group. After the talk, people started pouring out. Sophia and her friends got up, and as they passed my row, she abruptly paused and stared at me. Her voice was just loud enough for the people around us to hear. "Leo, you've been so busy lately, not even replying to my texts." Her tone was a pouty, playful complaint, the kind I used to fall for every single time. Her buddies are all smirking, ready for a show. Chloe stood a little further away, her head down, attempting to be inconspicuous. I didn't say anything. I just gazed at Sophia. Chapter 5. She undoubtedly felt uneasy being ignored, or maybe she was just used to order me around. She actually reached out as if to lovingly touch my cheek. "What? Are you truly mad? Don't be so sensitive." Just as her hand was about to touch me, one of her false buddies from the pop-up, a tall, cool girl named Tessa, suddenly grabbed Sophia's wrist. "Sophia, stop." Tessa's voice was low and forceful. "People are watching." Sophia froze, visibly shocked, hoping Tessa would intercede. "Tessa, what are you doing?" "I'm just playing around with him." "Jokes have limits," Tessa murmured, not letting go. She drew Sophia back a step. "Let's leave." The other females glanced ashamed and tried to smooth things off. "Yeah, Sophia, let's get moving. Leo, don't worry about it." Sophia's expression grew ugly. She flashed me a sneer before letting Tessa draw her away. I looked over at Chloe. She seemed to give out a tiny breath of relief. She glanced at me, and when she discovered I was looking, she hurriedly lowered her head and followed the others out. A few more comments floated over my vision, frowny face. "See, even false pals have some standards. At least they know when to be ashamed." Tessa for the win. "Dude, look, your secret rich girl was so worried about you." I stood there, my thoughts reeling. It all fitted up. Everything the pop-up spoiled was coming accurate. Tessa truly did stop Sophia and Chloe's reaction. Was she really worried about me? What the heck was happening to my world? As the shock wore off, one thing became crystal obvious. Chloe Chun, this girl who seemed utterly ordinary, was hiding something, and she was the one I needed to be paying attention to. I grabbed out my phone and sent Chloe a text. "Thanks for earlier." She didn't react. About 10 minutes later, a message came back. "For what?" "For not laughing at me with them," I typed. This time, her reaction was immediate. I didn't think it was humorous. My heart missed a beat. I hesitated for a bit, then typed another reply. Are you free tomorrow? I'd like to take you out to meal to thank you for last time and for the notes. After I send it, I waited for a long time. So long, I believed she wasn't going to answer. Finally, my phone. Screen lit up. Okay, what time and where? I suggested a wonderful bistro near campus for lunch the next day, a considerable step up from the boba shop. I wanted to meet this nerdy rich girl for real. I had to figure out what was going on with these darn pop-ups. And why in the world was she secretly in love with me? This was all utterly absurd, but I had a strong sensation that my life was set to be flipped entirely upside down by these weird on-screen comments and the girl named Chloe Chun. Chapter 6. I came to the restaurant 10 minutes early and found a quiet table near the window. My head was a mess. I wasn't sure if this was the proper decision. At 12 on her side promptly, Chloe appeared. She seemed to have put in additional effort, wearing a finer clothes, her hair freshly groomed, but still with the same black-rimmed glasses. She spotted me, walked up fast, and sat down across from me, looked a little nervous. Go ahead and order, I urged, passing the menu to her. She waved her hands. You can choose. I'm not choosy. I didn't protest and ordered a few of the restaurant specialties. The setting was a bit uneasy while we waited for the dinner. So, thanks for coming, I replied, attempting to make conversation. No problem. She sat absolutely straight, her hands in her lap. I glanced at her glasses, and a crazy image popped into my head. They seemed so commonplace. But what if they were some type of high-tech device? The source of the pop-ups. The concept was so ludicrous I almost laughed out loud. What's so funny? She inquired, appearing bewildered. Nothing, I responded, hastily composing myself. I was just thinking. You appear to study a lot. You're always reading. I came up with a weak reason. Yeah, it's a habit. She nodded. The food arrived. She ate cautiously, taking little bites. As I ate, I tried to figure out how to ask her about all the weird stuff happening. Do I simply come out and ask? Are you secretly a millionaire, or are you behind those bizarre comments in my vision? That was stupid. If I was wrong, she'd think I was a madman. I have to be subtle. It was really surprised yesterday when Tessa stopped Sophia. I said, appearing to be casual. Chloe's hand holding her fork paused for a second. She merely gave a gentle, What's their relationship like? It appears like they all kind of listen to Tessa. I prodded. Chloe set down her fork, wiped her jaw, and then said, Tessa's family has some business connections with my family. She's actually a nice person, just extremely direct. Business relationships. That was an interesting phrase. I knew Tessa's family was well off, and they had business with Chloe's family. Oh, what does your family do? I asked, seizing the opening. She seemed shocked by the question. She hesitated before saying vaguely, They're in business. Small business. What sort of business? I pressed. I wasn't going to let her brush it off. She stared me in the eye, silent, for a few seconds, and then said the name of a corporation. I never heard of it. I gave a non-committal, try not to show anything. She looked to relax and picked up her fork again, but I had my suspicions. I secretly pulled out my phone under the table and Googled the company name. When the search results displayed, my hand shook so fiercely I almost dropped my phone in my soup. This company wasn't a small business. It was one of the leading firms in the state. A vast conglomerate active in real estate, finance, and various other fields. It was big. My head shot up to stare at Chloe. She was calmly pulling bones out of the fish, her countenance tranquil. Holy, the pop-ups were real. She was an affluent kid, a really affluent kid. My heart was pumping. I hastily put my phone aside and took a sip of water to hide my shock. Her family was that wealthy. Why was she so low-key? Why was she trailing behind Sophia like a nobody? And why was she in love with me? Question after question flashed in my head. Chapter 7. Are you okay? Your face is a touch flushed, Chloe asked, looking anxious. I'm fine, it's just a spicy dish, I responded, indicating to a platter of untouched chicken wings. She stared at the wings, then back at me, but didn't say anything. I scarcely tasted the rest of the meal. When the check came, I made sure to take it first. Chloe didn't argue me on it, just simply said thank you. After leaving the meal, I volunteered to escort her back to her room. She nodded. We strolled side by side, not saying much. My mind was still trying to digest the facts. We passed the jewelry store, the window display shimmering amid the lights. I glanced at it immediately. Chloe followed my eyes, and exactly then my vision glitches again. Ding. Keyword jewelry triggered. Alert. Drama queen. Sophia's birthday is next weekend. She wants a new jewelry from Tiffany's and has been throwing signals to our boy for weeks. During Chloe's 18th birthday last year, her papa handed her 10% of the shares in the family's jewelry company. Note, the value of the shares is about equivalent to what our boy will make in 300 years of sing for Sophia. I stopped frozen in my tracks, feeling like the wind had been knocked out of me. 10% of the shares in a big jewelry company as a birthday present. An 18th birthday present, 300 years. I lost all control over my look and peered at Chloe like I'd seen a ghost. Leo R., are you not feeling well again? Chloe looked shocked and extended out a hand as if to support me. I made a strong step back, avoided her hand, and pointed a shaking finger at the window display. That necklace. Do you like it? The moment the words left my mouth, I wanted to slap myself. What a ridiculous question. Chloe stared at the brilliant diamond jewelry in the window and shook her head. Not really. The design is a little gaudy. Her expression was completely natural. She wasn't faking it. She actually thought the enormously costly necklace was gaudy. I stared at her basic black framed glasses and basic dress, and then I thought about the shares worth 300 years of my life. My brain short-circuited. This world was insane. Your family, I fumbled, unable to construct a meaningful sentence. Chloe appeared to comprehend. She gazed down, her voice going even quieter. You found out. Found out what? I questioned reflexively, still pretending dumb. About my family? She continued. Her voice as soft as a whisper. You Googled it earlier, didn't you? Damn it, she noticed me. She spotted me looking it up. My face instantaneously suffused with heat. I felt really humiliated. I wanted the dirt to swallow me entirely. I'm sorry, I didn't mean to. I started apologizing, not knowing how to explain myself. It's okay, she interrupted, looking up. There was a small smile on her face, as if she was relieved. It's better that you would have found out sooner or later. Anyway, what did she mean by that? What is I going to find out? I glanced at her, completely bewildered. Leo. She took a long breath as if gathering all her bravery and looked me straight in the eye. I've noticed you for a long time. Here it comes. This is it. My heart was thumping against my ribs. My breath. It was 3 years ago when you were a freshman. That time you got into a brawl on the basketball floor, she said slowly, her gaze distant as she recalled the experience. You stood up for a kid who was being bullied. It was you against all of them. And you didn't back down 1 inch. I was stunned. Did that happen? I scoured my memories. I think. Yeah, there was a moment like that. I forget what it was about, but I recall getting angry and almost coming to blows. I thought then that you were different, she murmured softly. And then I spotted you chasing Sophia. Her voice fell a little when she mentioned Sophia's name. I watched you bring her breakfast, save her seats, day in and day out. I thought you were incredibly determined and also pretty silly. She couldn't help but smile a little, a sorrowful kind of smile. I wanted to tell you so many times that Sophia, she isn't who you believe she is, that you two are from different planets, but I didn't know how to express it or what right I had to say anything. I listened speechless. She'd been following me since then. So why didn't you? I started to question why she didn't say anything. Why she just watched. Because I was terrified, she admitted with a surprising frankness. I was concerned that if I just came out of nowhere and said all that, you'd think I was weird, that you wouldn't believe me. They would think I had some ulterior agenda. Besides, the way you stared at Sophia, so focused, I didn't think I stood a chance. She delivered a self-deprecating laugh, so I could only observe. From a distance, I even started hanging around with Sophia and her pals just so I could see you periodically. I don't really fit in with them. The amount of information was startling. My head was about to crash. So for the past 3 years, while I thought I was staring up at my goddess Sophia, there was someone else behind me observing me the whole time. I thought I was a joke, yet the true mogul was right there by me, and she was secretly in love with me. This narrative was too terribly absurd. So those pop-up comments, the words fell out of my mouth. Comments? What comments? Chloe looked absolutely puzzled. She wasn't faking it. It wasn't her. Then, where the heck did they come from? I rapidly shook my head. Nothing. I believe I've just been pulling too many all-nighters, seeing things. I didn't dare press the issue of the pop-ups anymore. Chloe glanced at me with concern. You should get more rest. We entered her hostel. Thanks for dinner, she said, staring at me, her face turning pink again. I should be thanking you, I replied, my emotions a jumbled mess. Thank you for telling me about this. She nodded and tried to leave. Chloe, I yelled out. She turned back. Can I see you again? I asked. It was a foolish question, and I regretted it immediately. Her eyes brightened up, and she nodded enthusiastically. Yeah. As I saw her run inside the building, I stood there for a long time without moving. Everything that transpired today was a roller coaster. Sophie is true colors, the weird pop-ups, Chloe's unexpected identity, and her confession. I felt like my entire view of the universe had been broken and remade. Back in my hostel, I laid in bed, tossing and turning, unable to sleep. My thoughts was filled with Chloe's comments and those damn pop-ups. The next 3 days, I didn't contact Sophia. She, on the other hand, sent me a few more messages, her tone moving from intrigued to impatient. The last one read, Leo, what's your problem? Are you ghosting me? I didn't respond. I invited Chloe out again. Once to the library. This time, we actually studied. She helped me sketch crucial themes, and she described things more clearly than our professor. The other time, we went to see a horror movie. She got so afraid, she virtually rushed into my lap, her hand holding my arm tightly. I was realizing that under her quiet, reserved demeanor, she was actually kind of attractive, a touch geeky, and easily terrified. Being with her was easy. I didn't have to guess what she was thinking, and I didn't have to strive so hard to please her. And even though I knew she was 1,000 times wealthy than Sophia, she never showed it off. In fact, she seemed to purposefully disguise it. Chapter 8. The pop-ups didn't reappear, but I had a feeling they'd be back. The weekend was approaching, and I remember the pop-up spoiler, Sophia's birthday, the Tiffany's necklace. Sure enough, on Friday afternoon, Sophia cornered me outside a lecture hall. She did not look thrilled. Leo, my birthday is tomorrow, 7:00 p.m., Golden Crown karaoke. You have to be there, she said. Her tone was a command, an ultimatum. I might have plans tomorrow, I said. What plans could you potentially have? Her voice raised, catching the attention of onlookers nearby. Lo, what is wrong with you lately? Are you avoiding me on purpose only because I made one small joke the other day? Are you serious? I looked at her outraged attitude, and found it almost humorous. It wasn't because of that, I answered. Then what was it? She insisted. I looked her directly in the eye and told her the truth. I heard you. I heard what you said to your buddies, that you could strike me and I wouldn't depart. Sophia's countenance altered in an instant, turning from rage to shock. Her face grew pale. She opened her lips to argue, but nothing came out. Her eyes darted away. So, do you really believe I'm still going to show up? I asked quietly. She bit her lip, her pride visibly wounded. Her voice softened. I was only bragging to them. I didn't mean that. Leo, you know me. I just say foolish things sometimes. The truth is, over 3 years, I've gotten used to having you around. She started playing the victim, her eyes even getting a little misty. The old me would have melted, but the new me felt nothing. Not a single thing. Used to having me around as your personal S you can call whenever you want. I cut her off. She was stunned, as if she never expected me to say something so frank. I can't afford the necklace, I murmured, laying all my cards on the table. And I'm not attending to your party. Happy birthday. With that, I went past her and left. Even from a distance, I could feel her surprised and furious gaze burning into my back. It felt nice. Damn, it felt amazing. Chapter 9. For the first time in 3 years, I had stood up to her. I picked out my phone and contacted Chloe. Are you free tomorrow night? She replied swiftly. I am. What's up? Want to go sing some karaoke? I offered. Golden Crown karaoke, huh? If Sophia could go, so could we. Chloe, sure, just the two of us. Me? Yeah, just the two of us. Chloe, okay. Laughing face. Chapter 10. The next evening, I put on a new shirt. Before I left, my roommate gave me a funny look. Dude, you're all dressed up. Are you sure you're not going to Sophia's birthday party? I heard it's going to be a great deal. Not going. I have a date, I said. Whoa. Who is she? You move on fast, man. Nice, he yelled. I just smiled and didn't answer. I met Chloe in front of the karaoke bar. She wasn't wearing her spectacles today. She had on a clothing that really suited her and was even wearing a little makeup. She looked gorgeous. I nearly didn't recognize her. "You're not wearing your glasses," I remarked, shocked. "Contacts," she said, a little shy. "Do they look okay?" "They look great," I responded honestly. Her face quickly turned red. We got a small private room. I'm not a great singer, so I mostly listened to her. Her voice was quiet and gentle and unexpectedly excellent. We hadn't been singing for long when the door to our room was abruptly flung open. The music was still playing. Both Chloe and I froze and peered at the doorway. A group of individuals stood there, led by Sophia. She was wearing a gorgeous birthday dress. Her makeup immaculate, but her face was black with rage. Her eyes were like daggers, slicing back and forth between me and Chloe. Her companions were behind her. Tessa was there near the back, and she had a difficult expression on her face as she spotted us. "Leo, what is the meaning of this?" Sophia's voice was strident, full with wrath she couldn't contain. "You tell me you're not going to my birthday celebration, and then you come here to have a covert date with this nerd. Are you trying to embarrass me on purpose?" The music was loud, yet her shouting was louder. Chloe's face became pale as she automatically leaned closer to me. I stood up and turned off the music. The room fell silent. "Sophia, this is my room. Please leave," I remarked harshly. "Your room? Do you own this place?" Sophia was so enraged. She was just spewing crap. She pointed toward Chloe. "You blew me off for her. Leo, are you blind? What does she have that I don't? Her family is just some nouveau riz garbage. How could she compare to me?" "Sophia." Tessa tried to draw her back, but Sophia was on a roll, disregarding her, resuming her tirade. "What? You learned that her family has a little money, so you started sucking up to her. Leo, I never thought you were such a gold digger. When you couldn't have me, you went for the cheap knockoff. Is that all you're worth?" Her words are getting uglier. Chloe bit her lip, her body shaking slightly. That was it. I was about to let her have it when my vision abruptly glitched. "Warning, warning. Drama Queen's self-destruction level is critical, triggering instant takedown conditions, activating real-time comment support. Option A, male lead defends his girl with a physical beatdown. Option B, conjure enormous power for a crushing psychological assault. Option B is recommended for greatest effect." Holy, the pop-ups had options now. Before I could even fathom which one to choose, Chloe immediately stood up. She gently pulled my arm, bringing me behind her, and took a step forward, protecting me. She gazed at the angered Sophia, her expression remarkably serene, even frigid. The vibe she projected was very different from the meek, timid Chloe I knew. Sophia Chloe began, her voice quiet, but clear enough to cut through the tension. "First of all, my family is not nouveau riz. You've heard of Sterling Consolidated, right?" Sterling Consolidated? That was her family's enterprise. The one I Googled. It was a corporate giant. Sophia paused, the name obviously ringing a bell. An expression of surprise and uncertainty crossed her face. "Sterling? So what?" "Nothing," Chloe said flatly. "Just correcting you. Also, you called Leo a gold digger." She halted, her eyes moving to the sparkling new necklace around Sophia's neck. "If I'm not mistaken, that's the new piece from Tiffany's. The one Leo worked 3 part-time jobs for 3 months, practically damaging his eyesight to buy for your birthday." Sophia's face shifted, and she automatically covered the necklace with her hand. Chloe continued in the same calm tone. "And tonight, he's treating me to karaoke utilizing the remainder of his funds from those jobs in the cheapest accommodation they give. Can you please clarify to me where the gold digging is?" Sophia was speechless, her cheeks going hot and white. But Chloe wasn't finished. Her glance moved across Sophia's friends before falling back on Sophia. "And you say Leo simped for you for 3 years. Yes, he treated you nicely, but what did you ever give him in return other taking his kindness and his gifts for granted? Did you ever once give him a clear or no? You didn't even like him, but you kept him on the hook, savoring his devotion, using him as a trophy to boast about to your pals. Sophia, who's the real gold digger here?" Chloe's voice never rose. Her speed never quickened, but every phrase was like a hammer strike, forcing Sophia back, her face swelling paler by the second. Her pals behind her silently looked at each other, none of them daring to speak up. Tessa was glancing at Chloe with an expression that nearly looked like admiration. I stare at Chloe's back, absolutely astonished. Was this the same girl who blushed and stammered when she talked to me? She had the presence of a CEO. The pop-ups were going wild in my view. Frown face. Damn. Get her, queen? That's a true boss lady right there. Drama queen just been demolished. Dude, you hit the jackpot. Chloe's final look at Sophia was devastating. So it was never about Leo not being good enough for you. The truth is, Sophia, from the very beginning, you were never deserving of his adoration. Now please leave. You're interrupting us. Sophia looked like all the strength had been drained from her body. She stumbled back, and Tessa had to grab her. She glanced at Chloe, her eyes filled with amazement, shame, and disbelief. She probably never anticipated that this calm, invisible girl had such a harsh edge. She couldn't speak a thing. Her companions helped her out of the room, and the door was gently closed. The world was calm again. Chapter 11. Chloe stood there for a moment, took a big breath, and then her shoulders slumped slightly. She turned to face me, her expression reverting to that familiar, slightly anxious and bashful face. Was I too harsh just now? She asked in a quiet voice. I glanced at her, my heart beating in my chest. In that time, Sophia, my supposed one true love, faded into a distant memory. This girl in front of me, who had just strongly defended me. This low-key super heir. This sweet girl who had a crush on me for 3 years. I was only just understanding I had stumbled into a wonderful gem. What those weird pop-ups were no longer seemed to matter. I stepped forward and, without thinking, took her into a loving hug. Not harsh at all, I said. You were fantastic. Her body went stiff for a second, then slowly relaxed against me. Her head lay lightly on my shoulder, and the tips of her ears were flaming crimson. I hugged Chloe, feeling her heart pumping as quickly as mine. The room was so quiet we could hear each other breathe. After a long moment, I let her go. She kept her head down, not daring to look at me. Her face flushed a deep crimson. So, more singing. I scratched my head, unclear of what to do next. Chloe shook her head, her voice barely a whisper. I don't really want it anymore. Want to go for a walk then? I inquired tentatively. Okay, she nodded. We strolled out of the karaoke place, one after the other. Neither of us discussed what had just happened, but the atmosphere between us had completely changed. It felt electrically lovely. The night air was a touch cold, and she automatically hugged her arms. I took off my jacket and handed it to her. She paused for a second, then took it, saying a thank you as she put it on. The jacket was considerably too big for her, making her look even smaller. We walked aimlessly along the street. You were pretty incredible back there, I murmured, breaking the silence. She smiled shilly. Honestly, I was afraid. My palms were sweating. Couldn't tell, I responded, and it was true. She had seemed wonderfully collected. I was faking it, she admitted. I couldn't let her talk about you like that. A warm warmth spread over my chest. Being defended felt incredibly, truly nice. So sterling. Yeah, it's truly that big of a deal. I couldn't help my curiosity. She gave a gentle OMH. My grandpa started it. My dad controls it now. So why are you? I wanted to inquire why she was so low-key. I don't like it, she answered, seeming to know what I was about to ask. All those events, the networking, it's not me. I just want to be normal. Wear glasses, typical clothes, have no one take attention to me. It's comfy. She paused and glanced at me. Besides, if everyone knew who I was, I'd never know if people liked me for me. Like, with you and Sophia, maybe you didn't really like her. You just liked the idea of her, the campus queen. I paused, feeling a sting of shame. She was right. My love for Sophia had been jumbled up with a lot of trivial things with vanity. I get it now, I said. That's not what liking someone is about. Her eyes brightened as she stared at me, hopefully. I gathered my courage, stopped walking, and turned to face her. Chloe, I was blind for the previous 3 years. I squandered so much time, but now I want to pay attention to the person right in front of me. Would you give me a chance? The instant I asked, I grew nervous. My own palms started to sweat. Chloe gazed at me, and her eyes slowly crinkled into a smile, sparkling like they held the night sky. She nodded firmly. Yes. I broke into a silly grin, feeling a great weight fall off my shoulders. We proceeded going again, this time shoulder to shoulder, so close our hands brushed against each other every so often. Each touch felt like a small jolt of electricity. After a few more minutes, I couldn't hold it in any longer. About those pop-ups, Chloe merely looked blank. Pop-ups? What are you talking about? You really need to get more sleep. She seemed troubled and reached up as if to feel my forehead for a fever. I evaded her touch. Seeing her reaction, I knew she honestly had no idea. So what the hell was it? Was it my own superpower? A look into the future? Was it the universe taking pity on me for being such a pathetic S and gave me a cheat code? I couldn't figure out, so I decided to drop it. For now, the result was all that mattered. Never mind. I smiled. Must be hallucinations. We arrived at the entry to her neighborhood. It was a high-end gated community with formidable security at the gate. "This is me," she said, pausing. She took off my jacket and handed it back. "Thanks for walking me home." "No problem." I grabbed the jacket, which was still warm and smelt faintly of her perfume. She looked at me, seeming reluctant to leave. "So, see you tomorrow." "See you tomorrow." I nodded. She swiped her keycard to come in, proceeded a few feet, then immediately returned. Her face was blazing crimson as she hurriedly added, "Leo, I had a really nice time tonight," before dashing off again. I remained there holding my jacket, grinning like a fool for a long time before I finally turned and came back to my apartment. My roommates instantly crowd me. "Leo, you're a legend. We heard you fled the campus queen's party to go to karaoke with a nerdy girl, Chloe, and then you utterly shut Sophia down when she approached you. News flew fast. Way to go, man. You finally came to your senses. That Chloe chick might be quiet, but she seems a lot kinder than Miss High and powerful Sophia." I just smile, not saying anything. She's all right. The next day, news that Chloe and I had eaten lunch together in the cafeteria spread like wildfire. I got a lot of odd stares. Most folks undoubtedly thought I was mad for ditching Sophia for a plain Jane like Chloe. Sophia never disturbed me again. I heard her birthday celebration ended on a sad note, and she departed early. Tessa, on the other hand, would give me a nod when we passed one other on campus. Her attitude toward me had obviously improved. Chloe and I formally started trying things out. Being with her was comfortable. She wasn't high maintenance at all. She was really thoughtful. She knew I didn't have a lot of money, so she would always offer to pay when we went out. After I placed my foot down, we went to sharing things or finding things to do that were free. She was a genius. My grades were saved entirely by her instruction. I also learned other sides to her. She was a little clumsy and could be goofy sometimes. She had a tremendous sweet tooth and couldn't go past a bakery without stopping. And her sense of humor was so simple. I could tell the stupidest dad joke and she would laugh for ages. The pop-ups never came back. It was like their objective was to push me toward Chloe. And once the task was done, they vanished. Sometimes I wondered whether it hadn't been for those pop-ups. Would I still be following Sophia, fully blind to the treasure lying beside me? The concept was horrifying. A month later, Chloe said she wanted to take me somewhere. She picked me up in a car, a normal-appearing SUV. But when I checked up the model, I saw even the base version cost a small fortune. For her, I think this was low-key. She drove me to a building downtown. We rode a private elevator to the top floor. When the doors opened, my mouth fell. There was a private rooftop garden with an outstanding panoramic view of the city. In the middle was a dining table set with a white tablecloth, fresh flowers, and candles. A chef in a crisp uniform and bow tie stood waiting nearby. Several well-dressed staff members arrived and bowed politely to Chloe. "Miss Chun." Chloe glanced at me, ashamed. "My parents. They heard I have a boyfriend and insisted on treating you to dinner, they having to fly out of the nation for a last-minute business trip. So they had our butler organize this. Please don't be worried. It's just a casual meal." I gazed at her. This was her idea of an informal dinner. I spent the entire meal feeling absolutely out of place, not knowing what to do with my hands. The food came one after another, most of which I couldn't even name. The chef put on a show, flambeing a steak directly at our table with flames leaping into the air. Chloe started whispering to me in a low voice, telling me to relax. After dinner, the butler handed over a manila envelope. Chloe took it and handed it to me. "What's this?" I inquired. "A birthday present," she murmured, her cheeks pinking. "Your birthday is next month, right? My parents might not be back in time, so they wanted me to give you this from them." I opened the envelope. Inside were various legal paperwork and a car key. The documentation were all in English, and I could just make out that it was some kind of investment portfolio with me identified as the beneficiary. The branding on the car key was a bee with wings. My hand was shaking so violently I could barely hold it. This is too much. I can't accept this. It's okay. It's nothing, Chloe answered hurriedly. It's just some of my allowance. It's just a modest gift. The car was just an extra one my dad bought that's been lying in the garage. It's a shame to just let it remain there. I stared at the Bentley key, dumbfounded. Allowance? An additional one. I knew her family was prosperous, but the tremendous size of their wealth never ceased to stun me. In the end, after a lot of coaxing, I gave everything back. I couldn't accept the automobile and an investment fund. Chloe looked a bit unhappy, but she didn't push me. On the way back, she was quite silent. Are you mad? I pushed her arm. No, she shook her mind. I just feel like I can't do anything right. I want to do something nice for you, but I'm afraid of putting too much pressure on you. My heart softened. I reached over and took her hand. You're already doing more than enough for me. Really? As for all that other stuff, wait till I've earned it myself. Then you can give it to me, and I'll absolutely accept. She looked at me and grinned. Okay, then you better work hard. After final examinations, summer break was approaching. Chloe mentioned her family was opening a new mountain resort and invited me to stay for a couple of days. I said, okay. Chapter 14. The day before we were about to depart, I was packing in my dorm room when my phone called. It was an unknown number. I answered it. Leo. It was Sophia's voice. She sounded exhausted and different somehow. What's up? I asked. It had been so long since we'd spoken, I'd almost forgotten what she sounded like. Can we meet? There's anything I want to talk to you about, she continued. The coffee shop next to campus. I paused. There was nothing left to say, but I figured we could at least part on civil terms after 3 years. All right, half an hour. When I arrived to the coffee shop, Sophia was already there. She dropped some weight and wasn't wearing any cosmetics. She looked worn out. I sat down across from her. She stirred her coffee, silent for a long time. What did you want to talk about? I asked first. She looked up, her eyes full with a difficult mix of emotions. Lo, I'm sorry. I was taken aback. I hadn't expected that. Why are you apologizing? For everything, she said, gazing down. For the things I said. For how I treated you back then. I just appreciated the attention, the feeling of being put on a pedestal. It was my vanity. I knew you were wonderful to me, but I didn't appreciate it. She sniffled. It wasn't until you departed, until you got together with Chloe, that I realized I suppose I might have genuinely liked you. I just didn't see it previously. I didn't say anything. I felt a glimmer of emotion, maybe pity, but that was all. A late confession is worth less than dirt. It's too late, Sophia, I said. I know, she murmured with a sour smile. I'm not trying to win you back. I just felt like I owed you an apology. And Chloe, she's a good person. Her family's way richer than me. You made the proper choice. I frowned. I'm not with her because her family has money. Sophia looked astonished, then delivered a self-deprecating laugh. Really? Then I guess you really do like her. That's good. She took up her purse and stood up. That's all I wanted to say. I'm leaving. I wish you all the best. She departed. I watched her go, feeling the last ounce of animosity I had for her ultimately disappear. Chapter 15. The next day, Chloe and I went to her family's mountain resort. It was as luxurious as I'd anticipated with gorgeous scenery. That evening after dinner, we went for a walk around the property. We ended up near a secluded lake apart from everyone else. The moonlight looked lovely, gleaming on the ocean surface. Chloe seemed nervous, curling her fingers together. Leo. Yeah. She stopped walking and faced me, looking like she had made a huge decision. Theirs? Something I never told you. My heart jumped. Was it about the pop-ups? Did she have another secret? What is it? She took a big breath, her face turning beet red, her words so hushed I could barely hear it. Actually, those pop-up comments. I did it. My eyes became wide. I assumed I'd misheard her. What did you say? The pop-ups. I had someone manufacture them. She wouldn't look at me, her words pouring out in a jumble. My cousin is a hacker, a really good one, and I I was desperate seeing you be so crazy over Sophia, and nothing I said would get through to you. So I asked him to find a way to implant a little program into your phone or your optic nerve or anything to make you see the comments I typed. I was utterly paralyzed, my jaw hanging wide, so there was no superpower, no universe offering me a helping hand. It was this girl, this crazy rich girl. It was all her. How much money did she spend? What type of weird technology did she use? All to send me a complete idiot a series of spoiler notifications. I realize it was wrong to persuade you to employ a trick like that. Tears started welling up in her eyes. If you're angry, you can yell at me or hit me. Just don't ignore me. I looked at her terrified and scared face, and thought about all that had happened over the past few months. The pop-ups were a horrible, manipulative tactic, yet they were what awakened me up. They pushed me toward her. Without them, I'd probably still be an S. I wanted to be upset, but I couldn't help but want to chuckle. What the heck was my life? Yep, I had discovered my voice. How much did it cost? Chloe looked up, astonished. That was my initial question, she murmured. Not much. I just got my cousin a new lab to play with. A new lab to play with? I gazed at her, then immediately stretched out and grabbed her into a close hug. Her body tightened, then melted against me. Don't ever do that again, I moaned. If you have something to say, just tell me. Okay. She nodded furiously against my chest, her words muffled by sobs. Okay, I won't. I promise. I gazed down at her tear-soaked face and couldn't help but smile. But nevertheless, thank you for the pop-ups. She looked up, a tear-airy smile breaking through. She shyly buried her face in my chest again under the moonlight. We clutched each other closely.